Everybody, thanks for downloading the show. A couple of episodes ago, I asked Ken Shamrock if he'd be willing to do an episode of Martial Law with Dan Severn. They're both UFC Hall of Famers whose rivalry goes all the way back to the early days of UFC and when they were fighting over the championship. Both have had plenty to say about each other on this podcast. Ken agreed to settle things on the episode of Martial Law. The only thing left to do is to find out if Dan the Beast Severn accepts the challenge. So joining me right now is Dan Severn. How you doing, Dan?
Jason, I'm doing fantastic. I guess I would leap at the opportunity to set the record straight. There is the Shamrock, Sham. So, and then there's Dan, the truthful one. So,
the most truthful man in the UFC.
Well, I'm so brutally blunt there, Jason, that I always tell people you may want to watch what you ask because I'm going to hurt you with the truth. Because if I have to tell a lie, means I might have to tell another half a dozen to cover up the first one. I've got too much going on, and I'm not that sharp. So I'm just going to hurt you with the truth, and we move on from there. I'm not for everybody. I'm an acquired taste.
Well, as humorously as possible, because this is a comedy show, how did all the bad blood start between you and Ken Shamrock?
Well, I honestly didn't know the guy. He just, he actually was in the UFC before I was. I think, again, I could be wrong on some of this information. I think he was in there as of number 2 or number 3 was his first time being in there. I'm about to sneeze, and I'm trying to fight it back. Sorry. There you go. I had to turn away. I didn't want to spray the screen here. Okay.
That's a YouTube exclusive. That'll be taken out of the podcast, but people watching on YouTube, you got to hear Dan sneeze. That's the kind of stuff I give you if you subscribe to this channel.
And my toupee stayed in place. There you go. That's good. But Ken was there before me. But there's so many things I could go into of why there's such a big controversy between Ken and myself. For example, I'm lifetime chemical free. He openly admits that he has used steroids in the past. He has, been, when it was transforming from no holds barred, where there was no testing, so I kind of knew what I was getting into, to the world of mixed martial arts. Along with mixed martial arts became testing of athletes. But he also got busted 2 times. Not just for steroids, but also for other controlled substances such as opiates, things of that nature. But that just means he might have been could have been on just some painkillers, because a lot of painkillers contain opiates as well. So I'll just say that he tries to portray one person, and yet he's a different person. And so I tend to call a spade, and some people kind of don't like to be put on the spot like that. So I'm like, well, if you want to start flinging some shit, watch out, because I'm gonna fling it right back at you. But I go, I'm not gonna just make up stuff. I'm just gonna simply let the people know the truth.
And I gotta say, for those who don't know Dan, for him to use a curse word means he really doesn't like you. And I was kind of surprised to hear him say shit. So he doesn't like you, Ken.
No, it's I'll say that there's a couple of people that actually fall underneath touchy subjects too, because it's kind of going, are you people that naive? And the answer to that question is yes, because most people are not in professional athletics. They don't know what athletes do. They don't know. Because I said there's a lot of people, they don't know who a Ken Shamrock is, and they don't know who Dan Severn is. So there's all kinds of armchair quarterbacks that are going to give your opinion on anything and everything. Does it mean that they're right? Nope. It's merely a speculation on their part. I would take more credence to someone that says, well, hey, I grew up with Ken, or I grew up with Dan. I've been a friend of his for, a decade or more, and this is my observation. So those are I would take more credence to something like that. But, I don't like to get on a lot of interaction type of things like this because you'll get some keyboard warrior that's going to take a pot shot at you just because they can. And that's all it is. I look at it like, coward, and I just want to go delete, and you're out of my life.
Now, for people who are new to the show, Dan Severn is my bailiff on the martial law episodes. He just started that role. I don't even think that I've had an episode out with Dan as the bailiff yet. I'm not sure.
I accepted the bailiff's opportunity. We haven't had a chance to improvise.
Yeah. So when we do this episode of martial law, I will be bailiffless, which means this is a no holds barred episode of martial law.
Oh, that's okay there. You're in good hands. You're in good hands there, Jason.
I think both of you are used to no holds barred fights, so it should be a lot of fun. It should be very interesting. When's the last time you two went at it?
Well, I'll just say that I don't know. I had to think back. That's I haven't been asked that question in a while. We our history is we have done 2 matches. He won one and I won one, and there was supposed to be the rubber match was supposed to take place a couple years back. And lo and behold, less than 10 days before the match, he bails out on me. So, and that was after he had committed, verbal agreements, signed LOI letters of intent, and even took cash advances, and still bailed out less than 9 days before. And then there was like the big search, try to find a replacement, and the company I was dealing with was not a mixed martial arts company in the first place. They're an entertainment group, so literally I had to educate them on so many different things. There's all I know is, just to be fast forward, Jason, I basically lost 5 months of my life, and then that includes making income, because my whole thought process was this was going to be the 3rd and final rubber match. And if this was going to be the last time that anyone was going to see Dan Severn is going to put on the best possible match ever. And you're talking about someone that I was up right around that 275-pound range, even though 9 days before he bailed out, and then there was a search. They thought they had Take Abbott, but by the time that they did the medical check on Take Abbott, he could not pass the medicals, and I was finally officially put off the card as of a Friday. It was announced at that point that I would not be fighting, and the show was taking place on a Sunday. So 2 days before, I have the athletic commission saying that I won't be on the card. I go, no, I will be on the card. I should say I will be at the weigh-ins. I said I have worked too hard. I will be at the official press conference at the weigh-ins, and I will step on the scales to let people know what I did. And I stepped on the scales at 236 pounds. Now, from 275 down to I haven't seen 236 pounds, I'll bet, in over a couple of decades. So I was ready, at least to put forth the best effort I possibly could be. So, but that did not come to fruition. So, am I bitter about the thing? Oh, you bet I am. I'm bitter for losing 5 months. I'm bitter at a company that could not do a better job than what they are. And that company, I don't mind throwing them under the bus. It's known as the UR Network, and they did not live up to be any of their claims either.
What
company out of Toronto, Canada. And I'll just say that, I learned from each of my experiences that have gone awry. I simply look at it as the cost of education. And sometimes that cost of education might be, the cost of just going over to your local community college. Other times, I might have taken a class at Harvard or Yale. This one was a Harvard or Yale type of monetary loss. So I'm really kind of bitter about that, because I know what would have happened. It would have been an ugly match that night, a very one-sided, a very ugly match. And Shamrock would not be so lucky.
Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot to talk about if the episode of martial law comes true, and both have agreed. Really, so,
Jason, nothing really to talk about with the guy anymore. To me, it's like going, just don't waste my time. I mean, you've had the opportunity. You're gone. Don't waste my time. Goodbye. Life moves on. I'll deal with more positive people and people that are going to come through with what they say instead of those that merely flap their yaps.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you for being on the show today. Is there anything you want to promote before we go?
Well, basically, it's a rest assured to any folks that are watching this. I'm still very active in a multitude of different industries. Mixed martial arts and professionals are to the industry most people know me from. Amateur wrestling, I've been doing that since 1969. So that's something that I still do. I'm talking to you from the kitchen here of my 10,000 square foot training facility in Coldwater, Michigan. So I have ongoing classes here with that. But so go to my website at www.dansevern.com, and there lists a lot of the different things that I'm available to do between seminars and appearances and all the different types of seminars I'm able to do with all the first responders. So I really take a great deal of pride that, jumping into an industry like I did in this no holds barred era back in 1994, that was, it's been quite the ride. And like I said, I can go off into different tangents on this there, Jason, but I think I'll just leave it at that. Rest assured that the BEAST, the THE, stands for Teacher, Humanitarian Educator. That's who I am. And my message to young people is BEAST, to believe in yourself, to educate yourself, to adjust your everyday attitude, to study hard, and then to teach others. Can't take it with you, so share in knowledge. Even, enough said. The BEAST is an acronym for something very positive, whereas the BEAST in a lot of people's mind has a very either negative appeal, just been on your religious beliefs, but then also, the BEAST has been, or the phrase, you're like a beast, has been in a lot of accolades to people of superior ability there. So I look at that, I did not make up my ring name. It was given to me by legendary football player Jim Brown, and I ran with it because Dan the Pussycat Severn doesn't sell tickets, but Dan the Beast Severn does.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you again for being on the show, and I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back.
Thank you, Jason.
All right. That's the end of the portion for the podcast. If you want to stick around, do maybe 5 minutes for the people on YouTube. We got a couple of viewers.
You bet.
All right. So it seems like this is another YouTube exclusive. I won't talk about this on the show, but I'm still waiting to hear back from Ken Shamrock's people to set up a date for the episode between you and him. I'm starting to wonder if they're going to do it or not.
Jason, you have to ask Ken's people.
Yeah.
And who do you have to speak to? You just have to speak to me. I am my people. Now, I do have a number of people that work with me, but bottom line, I have to say so. Go ahead with this. I mean, I got people that are trying to. They know my abilities, so they know I'm gonna go to an area. They'll contact various gyms and high schools and things of that nature, so I can either do speaking engagements, high school amateurs in this, law enforcement that, corrections this, and so I like what I do there. But bottom line, I am my people.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the episode of martial law. Hopefully, it comes through. I see no reason why it shouldn't. Ken said he would like to do it. You said you would like to do it. So,
I would like to see what Ken could possibly say, because all I see is a lot of backtracking and circling is all I do at this point, because I'm thinking, whatever he could say, it gets countered with the truth. Hate to say it like that, but it's kind of like he can say whatever he wants. I'm just going to bust his shamrocks. That's all.
I forgot I wanted to get that line in for the podcast. I'll have to edit and cut that in somewhere. That's a great line.
But the beast didn't forget that down, did he?
So you got a lot of snow up there in Michigan. I had my share just a couple of days ago, and I appreciate you taking time out from shoveling. I'm sure that for one, it's a lot to do, but I'm sure you could use a break after a couple hours of it. I know I could yesterday.
It's it's Mother Nature. It's been kind of I'll say I don't want to say the word cruel, because Mother Nature is a phenomenal thing, but when she does rear her ugly head, it can do a lot of damage, no matter what it does. But It's Michigan. It's February. You got to expect snow. It's what it is. What I look at it as summer the next 4 days. I think we got 4 days of snow, and then was has some good sunshine. When that sunshine hits, one of the things that I've been known for is I build one of the biggest snowmen in the entire community. The last one I built, it really didn't turn into a snowman. It turned into a snow dinosaur because I actually had to build because the ball, the different balls were so big. I had to build a ramp just to get ball number 2 up there. So it's kind of like, well, I got this nice ramp. I go, it looks like a tail. I'll use this, and I actually had to make the head. I had one of my sons actually standing up on my shoulders, packing snow to make the head onto it. So we made a snow Tyrannosaurus Rex is what we made.
That's pretty awesome.
It is, and I know that's what I'll probably be doing again there. And towards like, yeah, Dan's at it again.
I tell you what, I'd rather shovel snow a couple of times, I don't know, once or twice a month or whatever it turns out to be, than have to mow my grass once every single week for months on end. So as long as it wants to stay cold, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that is that trade-off of the weather, but it's Michigan, you got all the changes of the seasons. And as I get older, though, I keep thinking, boy, right now I could actually be in Arizona right now. I could be a lot of different places. It just and I will be. I'll be in the next couple of weeks. I should be in California. Actually, by the end of next week, I will be in Arizona for a couple of days before heading off to California for probably a 8 to 10 day road trip.
That's a good point you bring up. If I moved to Arizona, I would just have sand in my yard. I wouldn't have to mow any grass if I bought the right house.
Yeah, well, not saying most yards have gravel. It's a gravel yard, like granite, crushed granite. Because the only reason, when my first year there was my freshman year in Arizona State, and I kept thinking none of these homes are completed. They don't have yards. But then I started realizing, it's all this crushed granite and stuff like that they have for yards. For 2 different summers, my job was taking big rocks and turn them into little rocks. I actually worked at a rock crushing quarry where driving big heavy machinery of the big front end loaders, scooping up parts, scooping up, what was once a mountain, scooping it up, dumping it into this big feeder, that conveyor belts, and then they got these big jaws. They're just crushing these big rocks on up. And all I know is I kept thinking, you really would not want to fall in that thing because there'd be nothing left of you. But I did that for 2 different summers. When you got that 115, 117 degree day, and the dust is billowing, and you just see salt rings around your shoulders and around your neck because you're sweating so bad, and the dust caking to you. But what can you say? Summer job, being a jock, you just got to do what you got to do.
That's right. Well, I'm going to stop the broadcast for the YouTube viewers. I want to thank you for joining us today, and make sure you tell other people about the YouTube channel. Get them to subscribe. I really appreciate everybody checking it out. I'll talk to you later.